Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Blackshirt Breakdown. My name is Steve Marik. I'm a staff writer at Inside Nebraska, and that is Jay Foreman. He is our former Nebraska Blackshirt and 8-year NFL
Yeah.
veteran. Jay, first of all, how you doing?
I'm doing all right, man. It seems like every time we're on here, we're rinse and repeat, but overall, I'm pretty good. Anytime football's on TV and Nebraska's playing, I'm always a happy camper.
Absolutely. So yeah, we're going to get into the game here. We're going to break down a good play from the Huskers, a bad play from the Huskers, and then a cause and effect segment. So first of all, before we do that, Jay, obviously the Huskers uphill. It was always going to be an uphill battle against a really, really good, tough Michigan team. A 34-3 loss. They were trailing 17-3 at halftime. What did you see just overall from the game?
I thought they came out for the most part and competed.
Mhm.
Michigan is Michigan, and they're going to play the way they like to play. Um, and it was kind of a slow, dreary game, just like the day.
Yeah.
I think Michigan, controlled the line of scrimmage physically. I think Nebraska, was in the right places, but just needed a little bit more oomph and authority as far as the defense goes. And the offense, to be honest with you, the offensive line actually played decent enough, especially in pass protection. They had a few runs there with Anthony Grant. I felt like, he was getting 3 or 4 yard runs, which are good runs against Michigan. But I just think the passing game wasn't there to soften up that defense, and we weren't able to really generate any sustainable drives. And we had one big play there in the first drive, which you need to really put Michigan back on their heels, but then we weren't able to kind of articulate down the field with some jabs. And so once you get behind Michigan, they're able to bleed the clock, and they weren't really on as far as getting their explosive plays on offense, but we weren't able to match that on our offensive output. And then the defense held us in the game. But for the most part, once you can't score past 3 points, you're not going to beat any Michigan, or let alone a lot of teams in the Big Ten.
Absolutely. So let's get right into it. Let's start with our one good play that we're going to break down. And yeah, so this is Ernest Hausman. It's a third down and what looks to be around 5 yards right now.
Right.
Yeah, Nebraska is obviously in a pressure look. A lot of guys near the line of scrimmage, and Ernest Hausman is at the top of the screen, right next, kind of hovering over the left tackle. So Jay, take it away.
Yeah, it's a unique here formation by Michigan. You have trips, kind of bunched up, and then the backside tight end is real tight in there. And so what Ernest is doing here, which is really good. First of all, I think this is Ernest's best game that since all year. He's kind of been thrust in there. He's
Yeah.
had some good moments, but this is his best game. I mean, all 4 quarters. He's doing a technique here where you could call it read blitzing or blitzing, to coverage. And, he's trying to draw the attention of number 76 here, their left tackle, which he does a good job. Then he's out in coverage and flat. McCarthy, who's a, good RPO type of quarterback. And then he comes out of coverage and is aggressive and shoots his shot, per se, like we used to say. And that's go to make a play. And he ends up with a sack. And it was a huge part of the game because if you look at it, it's third quarter. Michigan is probably the best third quarter team in the nation. They've been really blowing people out in the third quarter. They're driving the ball, and you need to get a stop here. And it's a huge part of getting back the momentum or getting momentum, going towards your side of the field, which is your sideline. And it's a huge play by Ernest Hausman here. It's a pressure situation. You're one-on-one on a really good athlete in a big game. You see a unique type of defensive front here. You got Caleb probably mirroring Blake Corum. And then you got Gifford over there doing the same type of technique, and you got Garrett Nelson over the center. So you're seeing some evolution of Bill Bush, doing, having different guys in there, whether it's through injury or just through guys earning the spot to cause some confusion. Here's Caleb, on a pressure here up the middle, reading off of Garrett and trying to get, faces into JJ McCarthy's face, flushing him out of the pocket. You see Garrett Nelson taking on 2 guys there. So it's one-on-one. So now this is where Ernest Hausman and his athletic ability is really, really something to look forward to in the future. Look how he's gaining ground, forcing J.J. McCarthy to make a decision. By the time he makes a decision, Ernest Hausman is on him quicker than he could imagine, and it turns into a sack, and it's a huge part early in the third quarter. And this is the type of plays that you need from your defense. It would be, I guess, normal to go into halftime, but losing to the number 3 team in the nation. It hasn't been normal for a lot of teams, to be able to stop them on the first drive out of halftime, and that's what Nebraska was able to do. That's what you need from your defense. That's what you want to see from your young players to continue to make plays. I feel like they're not freshmen anymore, and this definitely isn't a freshman play here. And then you had even another guy in here is where Javen Wright, where they call him Buddha, hadn't played really all season. He's one-on-one with the Michigan tight end, and they're giving him a chance to prove himself and play, and he made some plays too. So now when you look at Nebraska's defense, where you have Miles Farmer out, you have Isaac Gifford back there playing safety, or a new safety back there. Oh yeah, it's Isaac Gifford playing safety. Luke Reimer's down at the bottom, excuse me. And so you have guys in there playing different position. When Mickey says next man up, Bill Bush says next man up. It's not only next man up, guys got to step up. So you see Ernest Hausman stepped up this whole game. Javen Wright, you see Isaac Gifford really step up, playing a different position that he hasn't played, and he's leaving a successful position, which is the nickel position that he's played. And you see guys coming into the screen right there. You see Caleb Tanner and Garrett Nelson coming out of the stack, right, doing their job. And then it happens, just say so happens, Ernest Hausman misses that tackle. Your two captains are right there. Look at these guys. Look at Garrett coming out of the stack, Caleb Blitz coming out of there. And that's what you want, and that's where you see the improvement since Mickey Joseph and Bill Bush have taken over, rallying to the ball and playing good team defense.
Jay, you mentioned Javen Wright, and I'm glad you did. How intriguing is that guy to you? I mean, he's got like everything it seems like you want. He's like 6'4", 6'5". He's around 210, 215 pounds. Just a big, long, lengthy nickel. I mean, that's obviously he's had some health issues, which is just terrible luck for him. But just what do you see from a guy like Javen Wright?
I mean, he looks. If I was a painter, or it'd be like he's a blank canvas, and I'd be like Picasso with him. I mean, he's a legit 6'4.5", probably much 6'5", 210, 215 pounds. Doesn't even look like it. He could probably get up to 240 and look the same. He has position flexibility where he can play. He probably could play in the box safety. He definitely could play like a will linebacker. He could play outside linebacker, and he can play nickel. As you see, he's going one-on-one with one of the Michigan's tight ends, and really quiet as kept. The Michigan coaches and their staff feel like they have one of the best tight end rooms in the nation when they were healthy, and so for Javen to get thrown into a big game like this and hold his own is something that also bodes for well for the future. But for him, he has a ton of potential, and like you said, just some stuff physically that's out of his control. Has led to a little bit of bad luck, but it's great to see him out there healthy and contributing on the defense.
Good bloodlines with his dad, right?
Oh yeah. His dad, Toby, was a great all-conference safety. Tremendous hitter, tremendous pro player. So he has really, really good bloodlines. And I think he's a cousin of Chancellor Brewington. So it's bloodlines upon bloodlines with those two.
A lot of good athletes coming out of Arizona these days, it feels like. Okay, so let's go with the bad play right now once this play gets done. And yeah, so right now, look, 5 wide, empty formation, Chubba Purdy in the game, 1st and 10, second quarter. Tommy Hill is in the game right now at receiver. He lines up on the outside right next to the sideline, motions into the backfield, and then motions right back out to the sideline.
Yeah, this is just a motion to see what Michigan's going to do, and they didn't move, and so then therefore they're in the zone defense now. It just matters what type of zone they're in. Look like they're in a little bit of a cover 4 defense, and you see Chubba right here. It's from a defensive standpoint. This is where I'm going to talk to you about it, and you'll learn about the quarterback position. So if I am number 32, which would either be your Sam or Will linebacker, right, and so I'm reading the quarterback, right? So I'm taking my defensive drop or my pass drop, but I'm stopping based on when the quarterback, sets up his feet. So that's equivalent of a 5-step drop. Really don't have to move. You see Chubba has been locked on Tommy Hill right from the jump. So Tommy Hill has to, in a perfect world, I guess he would run a curl route instead of what we used to call the defensive player an area route. So, and the reason why he would have to, settle down and run a curl route, which would be directly in front of number 5, is because Chubba stared him down. So then, therefore, number 32 held in the passing lane. So if he ran the area route, which would be what he was doing right there, and I'm only calling it these routes based on what we used to call him as a defender. The ball will be thrown right to 32. So what could possibly Chubba do? Number one, not stare down, Tommy Hill, even if he had plans on coming back to him. If you see it, he's not, the middle linebacker isn't moving either. So as you see, as the play goes, you see Nate Borkacher wide open here, crossing the face of number 32, and they're running it, which could be a cover 4 or a little bit of a mesh cover 2, right? And I think the cover 2 is where the linebacker is already at depth. So then if he would have caught the ball right as he crosses the face of number 32, even if the middle linebacker comes down, it's an 8-yard gain, right? And also, if he looked down, if he didn't stare him down, number 32 would hug on number 49. So then Chuba would then throw the area route, which is what Tommy Hill's running. And look, Tommy Hill just has been playing receiver, has made a pretty seamless transition over there. But this is something that comes from experience, continuity, and also you have to be able to communicate. And it's a tremendous opportunity that was missed because you're only down 14 points. You have Vokalek down here on the linebacker wide open, and so it's first down pass, 1st and 10. You want to have a pitch and catch, right? So where's the easiest place to get a pitch and catch? You got size advantages with our 2 tight ends. Both of them are over 6'4". Travis Vokalek at 6'7". Look at the separation right there. If you could throw it right out of there, you got Nate Borkacher wide open right there, and then we throw it out to the sideline pass, which is probably the less percentage or the lower percentage, pass to complete. And so now when you talk about this is when you got to just play pitch and catch and take what the defense gives you. I think the defense gave them up the middle, but when you stare down your receiver, look at number 32 and look at 25 coming there. Even if he would have caught it, he's catching it in traffic. There's 3 guys there, but we have 2 guys on the other side. Is in this, when you look at this pass route, the way that the pass route ends up working out, they created one-on-ones with 49 would have been 1-on-1, and with 25, even though they're playing zone. And Travis Vokalek would have been one-on-1 with number, I think he's 23 at the bottom, all with positive and higher percentage of completion. So it just comes from learning from Chuba and learning the nuances of not only the offensive scheme, the offensive play call, but then what the defense is doing to you. And you have to be able to read these coverages as you're going into your drops, but you can't read the whole coverage, if you're staying down your receiver right from the beginning.
And like you said earlier, I really like it. It's just at the end of the day, look who's throwing it and look who's catching it. Those are inexperienced backup right now type players. So it's just at the end of the day, you have inexperience throwing to inexperience right now.
Right, and this is what you're playing a buttoned up crew here. This is number 3 team in the nation. They've been playing good defense to great defense all year. They've been getting pressure, but I also want to say this: even though this is supposedly our negative play, this is just a play that just didn't work out, and we're not critiquing it in a negative way because as we're explaining it, there's plenty of positives there. You just got to do it. And also, I want to point out that offensive line,
clean pocket,
clean pocket. They pass protected for the most part, pretty good all day. Guys have been much maligned, really played well as far as protecting, Chuba to do it. And when I think if you look at this right here, he has the option to step up in the pocket, which then might draw his eyes back to the right. So there's a lot of positives there, even though it's a negative play. But I just, like you said before, 2 inexperienced players, one by a new position and one by, they hadn't been playing a lot of major college football on the road in the big house is a unique situation. And definitely a hard, mountain to climb, but it was there for him. So then, as people talk about the play calling, the quarterback play, you just got to take what the defense gives you, then worry about the low percentage completion passes when you can dictate the coverage based on your prior success of just playing pitch and catch.
Now on to the cause and effect segment. I really like this one. Right. This was a play that I think everybody in the press box kind of like, oh, hey, Garrett Nelson showed up. He beat the right tackle on this play. That's a 6'5", 300-pound senior Carson Barnhart, who Garrett Nelson kind of gets the edge on and might have gotten held a little bit. I don't know. But so take us through this one.
Well, look, Garrett's been, adding to his toolbox all off season. You saw it in the spring, and now you're seeing it now, at times throughout the season. But, it all starts with him with the get off. And you see this inside stab here, even though he looks like he has an elbow brace on stab. He controls the guy, stab quick, rip down with one hand. And he does a really, really good job of what Coach Dawson teaches him is to throw your outside hand that's going to turn your shoulders and your hips right towards the quarterback. So this is a teach tape as far as pass rushing. Gets off, right? Gets him, he rips up, rips again, and here comes the left hand, which is there. He gets on him, and see how that left hip comes all the way around, and then he does a really good job of just alligatoring him down and getting him down by any means possible. That's a great individual effort by Garrett Nelson, because the way that Michigan slid their pass protection, he's one-on-one. So a lot of times you got to say you get a one-on-one, you got to win. You see how they're doing it? They got kind of an inside rush. They got Drew double team, wins one-on-one. Most I knew these guys need to do a better job, but Garrett's one-on-one on the outside, beats him with a great move, inside stab, ripped again, all while keeping your eyes on the quarterback and throwing your high hand, and does a really good job of getting an elusive quarterback down in a huge situation. One where you're creating a negative play for Michigan, where they, really, to be honest with you, Michigan came in disrespectful, think that we're going to work on our pass game against Nebraska. Well, Nebraska wasn't having it. And you see it right there. It's not even a clean stab, but see how he lowers his leverage right there. And you see me kind of rocking with him, teaching him. So you see his pad level. You see the extension right there going for the ball, right? He's going for the triple, right? The sack, force fumble, then the recovery, right? And then if you get a touchdown, that's called the grand slam. But he's like, you know what? I'm gonna do with a real strong single up the middle, right up the middle, because the pitcher can't play defense. If you want a baseball analogy, he's gonna get the sack. But look at the inside stab. Then he's going to rip. He's keeping it to the outside. Look at it. His right shoulder is already past 52 Barnhart's right shoulder. And there's an old saying that when I coach linebackers that are pass rush, once we're even, we're leaving. And he left him, and you see him right there. He didn't get the forced fumble, threw the right hand and made it. That looked like Garrett Nelson. I know he's from out there at Scotts Bluff, so I'm sure there was times that he had to go out there and chase down a little baby calf and wrestle him up, because and then maybe it's his wrestling background, but the balance, the leverage, the ability to dip and rip and then stay and then have a plan right at the point of contact. This is a teach tape for Coach Dawson, Garrett Nelson, how to rush the quarterback against one of the best offensive line and linemen in the country and conference, and then make a really, really good sack at a crucial time at the beginning of the game against an elusive quarterback.
And then, that was on second down, and it forced a 3rd and long, and Michigan did not complete it. Here was the incompletion.
Right. You always want to get Michigan not to be comfortable, and that's what we talked about. Right now, Garrett Nelson's rushing it from there. You'd like him to, stay on his feet, but guess what? He's in the quarterback's face. I think it's Luke Reimer is on a secondary blitz, what we used to call an add blitz. That means you're adding to the blitz a little bit later, and he's able to get a good quarterback hit, good, strong physical hit on the quarterback. And this is what you want. You want pressure on him, confusing him, especially when you're getting him in somewhat of a guaranteed passing situation, and the coverage is there. And also look at O'Shawn right here. This is what you see. This is what you saw when we went into the transfer portal to get him. Good speed to power. Probably would like him to be even with the quarterback and then settle down and get some pressure right there. But good, look where he's getting it a little bit late on the get off, but then he's using his length right there. Good inside stab, knowing what he's doing. It's so natural for O'Shawn. Good bend. Here comes Garrett, right? You'd like a little bit more push from Ty Robinson, but he's getting double teamed. Caleb's trying to work back down towards it, and here comes Luke Reimer, which is really good hit right there, because normally, see, like when I played, Steve, is that I would finish right through him, and I'm trying to knock him out of the game. This is a really good job by Luke Reimer right here, getting a hit on the quarterback in today's rules. And then I want to give it Malcolm Hartzog right here, right? This is a tricky formation. Remember, hold on right here. Remember last week, against Illinois and also Purdue and Minnesota, we talked about how they had to play on different levels so they can guard this route. Look at this formation right here. This is the play for you people out here watching this. This is the Illinois route that Juice Williams scored in the first drive right here, but they motioned to it. All these teams are going to do is just dress it up differently. This is what that lets me know. Bill Bush and those guys made adjustments. Players were coachable, made adjustments, and the best thing about it, they're applying it against one of the best teams in the nation. Look at Malcolm Hartzog. Last year, he probably got done going with prom and trying to figure out where he's going, and now he's playing on different levels. And it's good pressure there by Luke Reimer, right? Garrett Nelson even kind of just gets in the, it was going to be a secondary pressure. But look at the finish here. Right here. He doesn't know that there is double pressure right there. Yeah. But look how he finishes through the whistle, drives him into the ground. I like the competitiveness. And then you see Ernest Hausman playing with a little bit of swag. Caleb Tanner has the senior swag. So now you're seeing guys play a little bit looser and having some fun out there against the team that nobody gave them a chance to stop on defensively. And all the other DBs had really good positions. Quentin Newsom, Buford, all ready to play. All while Isaac Gifford's playing a different position,
Yeah.
and your starting safety that had 14, and Bill Bush said he was in on 20 tackles last week, is at home because of disciplinary issue. This right here should get people excited, not only about the young talent, but what Bill Bush and Mickey Joseph and the defensive coaches have done, from Dawson, Fisher, and Barrett Root, as far as getting guys that, you know, haven't been playing in position to play, and then also being able just to run more than just vanilla defenses and guys coming out there making huge plays. That finish right there by Hartzog is the reason why he's starting right now. It's because he's a young kid, and he's competing, and he's finishing. And the thing is, he's learning. The confidence that he's getting from making these plays, that's Ronnie Bell right there. That probably will be second or third Big Ten receiver, you know, behind, you know, seems like every single one of Ohio State's receivers. Ronnie Bell right there is the guy that Michigan came into this game thinking that we're going to be explosive with, and Hartzog's playing a one-on-one and having some success.
For sure. Absolutely. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good stuff, a lot of good things from young guys on the field that I think whoever ends up being the next coach, I think they're going to have a lot of young talent to work with on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, it's Nebraska's always a great job, but there's a lot of talent on there, and I think again, Mickey Joseph, if he's the head coach, he is the new coach next year, anyways. There's a lot to work with, and whoever comes in here is going to be excited.
Absolutely, and we'll be right here next week. Wisconsin, the Badgers coming into town. They just dropped a game in Iowa City to Iowa, 24-10. Did that score kind of surprise you at all?
A little bit, because Wisconsin had been explosive ever since Jim Leonard has taken over. But Iowa's defense is Iowa's defense, and Iowa is for Iowa. You know, they scored on defense again, and so I think it bodes well for Nebraska. I think Nebraska, for the most part, played against, run against Michigan pretty well. I think Michigan's offensive line is better than Wisconsin, but it's another challenge. The fourth game in a row that you got to play a physical team, so you got to be mentally and physically ready. We play well against the run. We beat Wisconsin somehow, some way.
And we will be there to break it all down next week. For Steve Marik, that is Jay Foreman. We will catch you next week.